Hello, everybody, and welcome to my Ninja Turtles channel. I'm very honored to be joined by Gavin Smith, great comic book artist, the current artist for IDW's Ninja Turtles comics. Welcome, Gavin.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for spending the time talking with me today. I really appreciate it. I've really been enjoying your artwork in the Turtles comics. You're very talented, and I have a
Thank
big
you.
lack of talent, so I'm hoping I soak up some of your talent today while we speak.
Well, you're very kind. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
How did you get into art and drawing and stuff? Did you just draw as a kid and it turned into a career?
Yeah, it was one of those things I was just constantly drawing. And I think probably by the time I was like 11 or 12 or something like that, I actually noticed the names at the top of the books I read, like the credits, and realized that real people do this and do it for a living. And I've spent a lot of my childhood just drawing, whatever was in front of me, whether it be Ninja Turtle stuff or like Justice League comics or whatever I was into at the time. And then uh, around the time I was 20, 21, I started collecting comics again, after not really getting them throughout high school, um, but always kind of keeping up with them.
Mm-hmm.
I was like going to like bookstores or something, and I just like park in the graphic novel section and read whatever for free. And but then when I, had my first adult job where I was making money, I started collecting again. I noticed ad for the Joe Kubert School, which I had noticed a lot as a kid, but it was when it was still around. I decided I really wanted to go, and you know applied some and got accepted, and packed my life up into my car and moved to New Jersey, and did 3 years there, and just been making comics ever since.
Really cool story. Really neat
Yeah,
how you break into that. It's a really competitive industry, so it's got to be tough to get your foot in the
yeah.
door and going to an art school and stuff like that and working around really has to help a lot.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it was nice because like a lot of people that were there in the industry today around that time. So I went in 2008 and graduated in 2011, and one of my good friends, Craig Cermak, who's done a lot of stuff for Archie lately, some stuff with Garth Ennis here and there. Like he was in class with me. There were guys like Gary Brown and Chris Mooneyham was there. A
Great
whole bunch of other. I
opportunity
mean,
to
yeah, there's
network
a
and
lot of, yeah, just a lot of people with like-minded goals, and just we're all there bouncing off each other, like trying to get better.
nice. Well, yeah, I
Yeah.
forgot to give your plugs at the start of the interview. I wanted to let everyone know to follow Gavin P. Smith on all the social media. Gavin P. Smith. Check out gavinsmithcomics.com. And if you'd like to buy some of Gavin's art, check out modernmythologycomicart.com and check out
Yeah.
Gavin Smith's art. Great stuff.
Yeah, a lot of pages from the last two issues of Turtles up there right now.
Oh, very nice. They've been very good. I've been enjoying your work a lot. And sorry about, I forgot to give those plugs at the top of the show. I'm very
Oh,
unprofessional.
no worries. I figured we were gonna do it at the end. No worries.
I'll do it. I'll do it both. How'd you get into the Turtles? Were you a fan as a kid? You watched the cartoon or something, or play with the toys?
Oh, yeah, yeah, all of the above. I uh, I don't remember a time when I wasn't a Turtles fan. So I grew up watching the '80s cartoon, and one of my first theatrical experiences was going to see the 1990 movie with my dad and my brother. Um, so that you know really opened my eyes to like what Turtles were, and like how many different interpretations of this franchise there can be, like with the stark difference between the '80s cartoon and the movie, and obviously what was going on in the comics at the time. I wasn't reading the Mirage comics at the time. I have since, but I would see like some of the Archie comics in shops and read those, and it's just the Turtles could be just so many different things, and that fascinated.
Yeah, that's really cool. I searched through some of your old tweets, and I'm gonna dig up an old tweet of yours. It's
Oh
nothing
no.
incriminating, but way back in 2011, you tweeted that you just did a quick sketch of a Ninja Turtle, and you were so glad you're doing the exact same thing as you were doing when you were 5. So
Wow.
you're the real deal. It's
Yeah.
on Twitter. It's official. We have the receipts. It's 12 years ago. You love the Ninja
Yeah.
Turtles 12 years ago. There's proof of it, and now you're working on the
Yeah.
comic book. So how cool is that?
Yeah.
What a dream come true.
Yeah, it was one of those things. I've wanted this gig for a very long time. And it's funny because like at the beginning of 2022, I was at a show with Josh, who's my art rep for Modern Mythology, and he just kind of it was me, him, and a couple other guys. We were out for dinner, and he sort of asked us what all our dream projects were, and I said, I want turtles, and like everyone at the table was like, yeah, duh. Um, but um, I kind of put it out there that I was like, all right, I'm actually going to try to get it. And I was working on Star Trek at the time, so I figured, this is I'm already working with IDW, and I was making kind of a game plan to, uh, I guess, oh, what's the word I'm looking for? I guess interject myself into the
Mm-hmm.
Turtles side of IDW, and it just so happened like around like issue 126 or 127 was around the time Bobby Curnow, the Ninja Turtles editor at the time, had left,
Mm-hmm.
and there was a little bit of a void in editorial, and my assistant editor on Star Trek, Vanessa, was helping out with Turtles at the time, and it was just perfect timing because like my run on Trek was ending, and I just shot my shot, and
Nice.
the window was open for about like 30 seconds, and I was the one that noticed. So she brought me in, got me in good with Charles, the current editor, head editor of Turtles, and we've been talking ever since. They put me on my first cover, which was issue 134, the an RI cover, and then they had me do an Armageddon game cover a couple weeks after that, and then about a week after that, they asked me to try out for uh, Last Ronin, Lost Years. Um, and so I was in the running for that. The quick version of that story is SL Gallant, who's drawing it, doing a terrific job, by the way. They're going to give us both jobs. It was just who goes where,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
they ended up using my cover and hiring SL Gallant and for Lost Years, and then they offered me the main series, which I was ecstatic about. So
That's a pretty nice
all worked out.
consolation prize. If that's second
I,
place,
I
that
don't even
feels pretty good.
I don't even consider it second place. I think it's it's exactly what I wanted. I don't think there was a loser in that situation.
Yeah, I agree.
Like because technically it's almost like I got both jobs because they ended up using the cover I did for my tryout. They ended up using it for the issue one cover, the C cover, the variant. So it
That's
worked out all
nice.
right.
Is that how
Yeah.
comic book companies kind of like audition artists? They have you try a few covers at first and then see if they want to pull you in for interiors?
Uh, Usually I find it the other way around. I think that with the turtle stuff was actually my uh first time around being asked to be a cover artist solo.
Oh.
Because I think the Star Trek was my first like big mainstream gig, and when I got offered that, they told me that the covers were all spoken for. Uh, and so they had hired every cover artist for all the variants and whatever before they'd hire me, and I was like, oh, okay, well that's fine. Um, I did end up doing like a test cover uh to try to trick them later on into letting me do covers, which they said, still we can't use it because all the other cover artists they had hired at the time, but they ended up actually printing it in the trade paperback of Mirror War that just came out, which was cool. My test cover. So
Nice.
um but yeah, this is the first. I don't think that's common, maybe with some people. But in my case, I'm usually the interior guy,
Mm.
so it was the first go around being a cover guy.
How long is your run going to be on the Turtles comic? Is it
Right.
issue by issue, or do you sign up for like a whole trade paperback or something?
Yeah. So they've got me on from issue 140 to 144. Um, and I think when it was originally asked me to do it, they said it could be 5 issues or it could be 10, and it was I think the original plan was Sophie Campbell was going to draw her last 6 issues. I don't know if that's still the case. Uh, but as far as I know, I'm on, like Sophie told me when we first started talking about this run that she was going to draw her last 6. So they've got me assigned to 140, 144, and then and I'm kind of glad I'm not on for those other 5 or 6 issues or whatever it is, because they've got me drawing right up to the print date. Because like the schedule is that tight, so I've got about 4 weeks in issue to turn this around. So it's been a pretty wild couple months over in the house for me.
So I know they have the script ready before they hand it off to you. And how
Hmm.
what's the time frame like? What's the process like? Do you get a week to draw it? Is it like always as soon as possible? We need this yesterday kind of thing, or did they give you a
No,
set amount
never,
of time?
not that bad. Yeah, it's a set amount of time. I like I said, it's about 4 weeks in issue. So I usually spend the first week just doing my layouts, and then I'll send those in, and they get approved by Nickelodeon. And while I'm waiting for Nickelodeon approval, I'm tightening up those layouts to be somewhat closer to finished pencils. And then I jump right into inks as soon as they say go. So then at that point, I have about 3 weeks to do 20 pages. And
Wow.
I've got all my covers done for my run. Like that was one of the first things we did, where uh, when we were waiting to get started on my first issue, because I think they were catching up with um, Pharaoh Pay's run.
Hmm.
I hope I'm saying that right. Uh, he was fantastic, but Pharaoh, um, while he was finishing up to 139, I started doing my covers for 140, and I basically had a vague outline of what my run was going to be, and even then, like it's changed a ton
Hmm.
since the scripts have come in. But so I did all, I think the first 4 covers like back to back to back. So I did the one with all of them standing on the rooftop looking sad. I did the Raphael mugshot. The next one that's coming out is Donatello going full magic.
Hmm.
Uh, One after that is Michelangelo skateboarding through Brooklyn, and final one is Leo with his new clan that he seems to be forming, with Bob and Carmen,
Hmm.
like jumping off the roof. So
Yeah, just saw that one the other day. Looks great. Can't wait to see. I usually
thank
don't
you.
look ahead for anything. I mean, I'm buying it either way, but
Right.
I saw that
Yeah.
cover came across my desk here, and it looks great. All your stuff looks great. You're good
Thank
at
you.
drawing the action stuff. You're good at drawing the emotional stuff as well. And you mentioned laying
Thank
out the
you.
panels. The panels are laid out in a nice, flowing, creative way as well. So good
Oh,
job
thank you.
on
Yeah,
behalf
I
of all
try to.
Turtles fans.
Thank you. I try to focus on storytelling. That be my strongest suit, or I try to make that my strongest suit, because I feel like if the reader doesn't know what's going on, then I'm not doing my job right.
Do you ever think about getting into writing as well, or is it just art for you?
Stay tuned.
Oh, uh-oh. Very
Yeah,
cool.
I can't confirm or deny anything, but it's been on my mind a lot lately, and I've been talking to some people about stuff
Nice.
uh, in and out of Turtles universe. So
Is that how comic
don't
books
know if
come about? Do people do like does a writer just pitch an idea, or does the comic book company come up with the idea, or someone just comes up with a pitch?
I think it's a little
A
a
little bit of
little from
everything,
column
maybe.
A, yeah, a little from
Yeah.
column B. It's it's especially with something like this, like a lot of creator owned stuff comes out that way. Like a writer will approach me, like I'm doing a series with my friend Rich Doet, who's done some turtle stuff as well,
Hmm.
and he's doing a lot of stuff over at Boom and IDW and Dark Horse as well. But we put together a series last year that's going to be coming out through Dark Horse next year, where he approached me. But on the other hand, I did another series called Dead Legends with my good friend James Maddox, and I approached him about it because I had just come up with a bunch of like crazy ideas that I was like, hey, I need your help putting this in, make my crazy ideas make sense.
Hmm.
And he helped me do that, and it ended up becoming our book, because he brought a lot of ideas to the table as well, and that's Dead Legends. Go buy it. It's good martial arts action.
Very nice. Do you just
Yeah.
work on one book at a time, or do you work on multiple books, kind of juggle them around depending on what stage they're in?
I have done the juggle. I try not to. Because I try to put so much into the pages that I make that I can really only concentrate on a book at a time.
Hmm.
Um, so right now I'm only focused on turtles, but I have um, I've got to finish up the Dark Horse thing after I finish this run and a couple other things that are on my plate. I'm supposed to get started on Dead Legends 3 eventually. Just kind of depends on what's coming up in the next couple of months after Turtles. So,
Nice.
yeah.
Your stuff really looks good. It's really detailed and it shows that you're focused on it and
Thank
you're
you.
putting in the time. And you really can't fake that amount of detail, or you can't fake that kind of nuance in all the panels and stuff. So you just have to put in
Yeah.
the time, and it really shows.
Oh yeah, yeah, and I'm putting in a lot of time. So,
Well, us comic book readers, we appreciate it. Ninja Turtle fans.
thank you.
And you do all your drawing on paper?
Yeah, yeah. Well, actually, the last two issues, so 140, that are coming out, so 142 and 143, which I'm working on right now. I did all my day layouts digitally. And usually I do them all on paper, but I needed a quick uh uh quicken my pace a little bit.
Hmm.
So I've been doing my layouts digitally and then tightening them up as much as I can and then printing them out and inking straight from my rough layouts. And that's been going really well. But usually my process is to pencil everything and then I blue line it uh by scanning it in and then printing it out in light cyan blue and then ink over the top of that. But yeah, everything at the end of the day does end up on paper.
Nice. You do a little bit of a hybrid of the digital and the paper stuff. That probably helps. Edit undo is very valuable.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, but so lately, yeah, the pencils are all digital, but I make sure to keep it. Uh, I use one brush, like just a standard penciling brush when I'm doing my layouts because I there are some things that I just can't replicate by hand
Hmm.
uh, that I can do digitally and vice versa.
Hmm.
So if I keep it simple with just the one brush and then I know I can ink that. And that's the thing. A lot of my inking, the reason I like inking on paper is a lot of my inking is very spontaneous the way I do my textures. So uh and I like that. I like being able to control what I put down.
Yeah, there's definitely pros and cons about the digital route and the paper route, and there's
Yeah,
little things you're missing out on either way. So that's nice to hear you're
yeah.
doing both.
And
And go ahead.
yeah, and I was gonna say I don't think there's anything wrong with anything anybody that does either.
Hmm.
Like someone's full digital, like that's always been a weird controversy to me because I always just consider it a tool. Just whatever
Yeah.
you need to get the job done, it's fine.
How do you feel about AI art?
Don't like it.
Don't like it at all.
Don't like it. Looks cheap. Just looks. I've like it's funny a lot of the AI stuff that's coming out like that people are making like I don't know. I'm just not a fan of that art style in general, even if it was done without use of AI. So
Hmm.
like I just don't care about it.
Yeah. It's a weird new technology. I wonder how maybe that's how people felt with like Photoshop or Illustrator when they first came about and people first started drawing on tablets and stuff. Maybe I don't know. It's weird.
Maybe
I wonder how it's going to get incorporated. It seems like it's not going away, but it's definitely strange. Strange new world.
it's one of those things where I've seen a lot of companies like actively saying like we don't want this because there's no skill in it. Like I think I saw early like a couple months ago um where someone had used AI, got an art job doing AI, put together something, and then a client wanted fixes on what they turned in, and they couldn't do the fix because they were just putting in prompts. And when
Hmm.
they put in a new prompt to correct what they had originally done, it couldn't interpret that, and it just it's just not it's just not a great tool. It's like it
Yeah.
separates I don't know. It it's a loaded question because it seems like it's just a cheap way for people to try to get into this industry, and
I know what you
it's
mean. I know what you
yeah,
mean. You hear that, AI nerds out there?
yeah.
Hit the road,
There's no
AI
there's no
nerds.
skill in it, you know. So
What's
and that's the thing that I think we is great about comics is that there is actual skill involved in making this stuff. That's why I still read them. I'd like to think it's why a lot of people still read them because it's hand drawn or like
mm-hmm.
people make this stuff. And I think I saw some studio that was recently that used AI to literally write and make like a whole episode of South Park, and I watched it and it was just lifeless.
Mm-hmm.
Like there was like the jokes they tried to tell were just dead. The animation was dead. It just wasn't entertaining, and
Yeah, it
there
doesn't have
there's
that
no heart to it.
human element. You mentioned when you're doing the
Yeah,
inking, you're spontaneous, and I think people can
yeah,
perceive that, and people can tell there's a human behind something. So
right.
it's good to hear. What's your favorite part about drawing the turtles? Is there like a favorite character or a favorite aspect? Do you like the hero poses or
I mean, like it's all. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm drawing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for a living. I mean, that's pretty rad.
nice?
So there's a lot of cool moments that I get out of this. Like, there's been some cool. Well, I think with every character so far, I've had a pretty cool moment that I've got to draw on, and I- and it feels surreal still. Like it's like I can't believe like I'm doing this, and a major comic book publisher is going to put it out, and it's an official Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles book.
You're officially part of the TMNT lore forever. You're officially up
Yeah,
there.
yeah, that's pretty cool. Like, and it that was one of the cool things because like stuff can change all the time. Like, sure, things go away. And it's happened to me a lot in this business. And like once that first like even my first covers that came out, like the 134 RI, Last Ronin cover, and the Armageddon game cover, like those were cool. But like, things could change at the drop of a hat. They could have said like, we're going in a different direction, TMNT, so we're gonna have to scrap,
Mm-hmm.
140. That was a big fear of mine. It's like, oh, I did the work. Like, what if it gets scrapped? And when it finally came out, like I just breathed this huge sigh of relief, and it's just like, okay, it's real, it's here, and
And I think
it's
before
in the world.
140 came out, IDW had just laid off 40% of their staff a while back, so it seemed like a little bit of a rocky road. I know you guys you're not a technical employee, right? You're like an independent contractor, but still
Right.
very uncertain times it seems. So it's nice to hear that you got to complete
Yeah.
the issues and you got to hold them in your hand. It's real.
Yeah, and that's shout out to Jonathan Manning, who was my editor uh on the first couple issues of and really brought me on, well, as one of the guys steering the ship when I was uh brought on for interiors. So uh he unfortunately got caught up in those, and good dude, hope he lands at a good place.
Yeah, I hope so too. And I saw that Sean Lee may have been affected, and even Bobby Curno a couple years ago. I'm missing him still, so I still haven't even gotten over Bobby. All these recent layoffs have been
Well, but
tough as well.
I think Bobby left on his own accord,
Yeah,
and
no, Bobby
I,
left on his own.
yeah, I think he wanted to. I can't speak. I don't know Bobby terribly well. We've only exchanged emails a couple of times, but I think he's doing all right. I hope he's doing all right.
That seems like a tough part of the comic industry is you work with these people for a few issues and you develop a
Hmm.
relationship and you get used to each other and then you get a
Hmm.
new writer, you get a new artist and it's kind of like a revolving door kind of thing. It must be nice to lock on at
Yeah,
least for 4 or 5 issues. It's a little bit of a run. It's a little bit of continuity in your life and that must be nice to get a full gig like that.
yeah, for sure. And that was kind of what I always wanted. Like I told them from the beginning I wanted a little bit of a run on the main series, and I thought that was further away than it was, and then it turned out to be my first full interior gig for them, which is nice, and definitely I don't think it's going to be the end for me on TMNT, so I think I'm sticking around for a while. Not necessarily on the main series, but I'll be around.
Very nice. Little teaser. I see a smirk there. That's
Yeah,
good news.
yeah,
Good to hear. And you teased a
Yeah,
little something earlier when we were speaking about writing as well. So I can't wait to hear,
yeah.
can't wait to
Well,
read or see what's going
that
on in
that
any
could be
format.
for a number of things. The writing could be for a number of things.
Oh,
So,
okay, great.
yeah,
Well, good to
very
hear.
cool.
It's good stuff.
Thank you.
And that's sad about those relationships. You work with someone for a few issues and then you move on or they move on. That's tough. But
Right. Yeah, that's show
nice to work.
business.
Yeah, that's show business. Is it nice working with Sophie Campbell? Do you ever get anything in the script that you like disagree with that you don't want to draw, or have you been enjoying the script so
Oh no,
far?
nothing like that. Yeah, well, I mean, Sophie's awesome to work with because I've never worked with a writer who was also an artist before.
Hmm.
So we actually kind of jam on stuff sometimes as far as like, hey, this is what I was thinking. Is this what you had in mind? And every once in a while she'd be like, no, but I like that better. Or uh, well, here's what Nickelodeon's approved. And like Sophie does a lot of drawing for like new concepts and stuff like that. Like
Hmm.
there's a character that's coming up in I think in 142. Yeah, in 142 that she drew, and I was like, "Where's the like?" She just sent it to me before I could even ask. And she's like, "Yeah, you're drawing this guy in 142." And I'm like, "Oh, that's wild." And then there's a big thing in 143 that, or at the end of 142, or no, wait, no, it is at the end of 143. Sorry, at the end of 143 that I hadn't received any art for, and I was like, "Hey, what's up with this?" And she goes, "Oh, give me a second," and then just had this sketch of a character ready to go for me, which is really cool. So that's really nice because she writes her scripts like an artist. They're open enough that I can kind of do uh, I can play around, and anytime she writes, several characters on a page, she always apologizes.
Hmm.
She's like, "I'm so sorry," but it's never been a problem. I've been making it work, and it's really great working with her.
Very good to hear. Well, I'm I'm
Yeah,
I'm I'm proud of you. You had the childhood dream. I dug it up on Twitter, and now you're doing it
yeah.
in real life. That's really cool stuff. So I'd
Thank
like to tell everyone that's listening and watching, follow Gavin P. Smith on all the social
you.
media.
Yes.
Find Gavin on Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff, and check out gavinsmithcomics.com. A lot of links there, a lot of information. And if you're looking to purchase anything, check out Modern Mythology Comic Art and search for Gavin Smith. Really great stuff, great art. Looks good in black and white too. Doesn't even need to be colored.
Thanks, but Rhonda's been doing a great job.
Yeah, Rhonda Pattison. Has Rhonda missed a
Yeah,
single issue in this comic book run? I think it's been over 140 issues straight for 12 years, hasn't it?
I believe so. Yeah,
I did a video about
she's
Rhonda a
been
while back, and
steady.
I was looking for a missing issue and I couldn't find one. What a streak!
Right. Yeah, I think I'm pretty sure she's been on since day one. So great job, Rhonda. Good for her. And always a pleasure seeing what she's doing. Like whenever I get the PDFs in.
Yeah, it's nice. It sounds like they have a. I mean,
Yeah.
it's obvious they have a really good team over there between Sophie Campbell and
Hmm.
Tom Waltz and Rhonda and all the different artists over the years, and now it's you.
Hmm.
You're the guy. Pretty cool.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Well, great. You have anything else to say? The floor is yours. You have anything you want to? One last shot. You want to tell any other artists you hate them or love them or anything? You want to kick up
Oh
any
no,
any
nothing like
dust?
that. No, not really. I mean, I'll be at New York Comic Con this year. If you're going, if you're in the Midwest, I'll be at Cincinnati Comic Expo. I mean, I don't know when this goes up, but I'll be in Tampa Bay Comic Con this weekend. Um, yeah, not a whole lot. Be on the lookout. Get issues 140 to 144 of TMNT, and then stay tuned for other stuff down the line. I'll make a big deal out of it on Twitter or Instagram when I have new stuff coming out.
Yeah, well, make sure to follow Gavin P. Smith on all the socials so you can keep up with those Comic Con appearances and check out some little previews of artwork and a whole bunch of great stuff coming up. And I just wanted to say thanks again for speaking with me, Gavin. I really
Yeah,
appreciate
my
it. This was
pleasure.
really great. And I'll stop the recording
Yeah.
and we could say goodbye.
All right. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Gavin.